unpopular opinion, but your family and your friends don't owe you. Like, everybody has their own stuff going on. And I feel like once people come to terms with that, they can have healthier relationships. You know how many times I've sold something and my friends didn't buy it? So what?
If you had to judge your business off of the success of people that are closest to you supporting it, how successful would that business be? It wouldn't be successful.
Welcome back to Elevators Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode. As you know, each week we have so much to tell you guys. This has been just an amazing week. Shout out to us getting through.
It's so much to catch up on. Shout out to us for our consistency with season 2. I love this for us. Look at that. I hope you guys have been loving the consistency as well. We see that every time this episode drops, early in the morning, you guys are tuning in and just joining us to yap and talk and figure out how to elevate ourselves and so on and so forth. So we really appreciate all you guys who are listening and tuning in every single week to come hang out with us. So thank you.
That's right. Because we're all about, the girl talk, the elevated talk. We're just, just trying to make sure that we are getting things done. We are making sure that we are taking ourselves to the next level and learning something along the way from the things we go through, the things that you all may be going through. And speaking of going through, if you guys want us to give you any advice or talk about a hot topic or something that you would like for us to mention on the show, make sure you tap into our Speakpipe. Head over to elevators.com. Write us a little message. It could be anonymous, whatever it is that you want to hear on the show. But we should actually get into some reviews while we're at it. Let's do it. So we got a review. Shout out to Raymond LaVenture. Ray said on our last episode, I love this episode. Great information and content, ladies. Thank you, Ray. That was a good one.
And last episode was amazing. If you guys have not heard it, go back and listen to it. We were talking with Emmy Petit, and I feel like everything that we talked about really applied to both ends of the spectrum. But she was giving a lot of information on how to make being a content creator sustainable. And for me personally, I was sitting there definitely taking notes in my head, because I think one thing we talked about last week was how a lot of times people push content out, and then sit and wait for brand deals. And that's not really sustainable, which I think that's something that I personally was like, oh, wow, like, yeah, okay, I knew I wasn't bugging. Like, she feels me. Like, this is definitely something we're all going through. But she also gave tips on like how to fix that, which you already know. I love like tangible things that I can take home and like really implement. So yeah, it was a great episode. I loved having her on, and we was yapping. It was good.
We were really yapping all episode, and there's literally something in that episode for everybody. I left our talk feeling so inspired and motivated, not only as a creator, but also like a former corporate girly. So I just think that, for everybody that's just trying to navigate their space, we know that the world is changing and so many things are shifting for a lot of us. Whether it's you're going back to work or you're trying to figure out content creating or you're trying to do a little bit of both, I think that episode was great for anybody. So definitely tap into that. But anyways, girl, what's been going on with you? What's been new into this week?
Girl, so this freelance girly is going back to corporate, which is so crazy because I feel like our conversation... Yes, I feel like our conversation last week was just so on time for me, for like, again, both ends, as a content creator and as somebody who is going back to corporate. So yeah, girl, I am going to be working in news again, and I'm really excited about that. I just really wanted to keep my wheels oiled in that realm. Love doing the podcast. We'll stay consistent here. Love doing Fortune and Forks and like running that show over there. But also like, I'm a media correspondent, and like I like working in media. So I just want to make sure that I'm keeping all my skills well oiled and sort of like up to date in a sense. And I just felt like I was sort of toting the line of being out of the corporate space for a little too long, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was looking at my resume, I was like, oh my God, I've done so much freelance between now and my previous like consistent corporate job in media. And I think I need to just put some consistency back on my resume, just in case. You never know. But like, just also to keep my wheels turning, to just understand what's happening in the industry, and just like staying in that loop for myself personally. Because what if somebody come out and they want to buy Fortune and Forks? You know, like,
Yeah.
what if somebody wants to buy Elevators podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Right.
still wanna have my 2 feet to stand on, which is, like,
Mhm.
my media correspondent background, so I'm excited for that. This week has been just about figuring out, like, balance
Mhm.
and figuring out, like, how to make sure that all the pieces on my chessboard are moving in the same direction, which is forward. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's been great. So far, so good. I'm excited about the consistency and the discipline because I think that, when you go back into these corporate spaces, like that's something that just happens organically, but also like I just know how I function. And I know that, like, when I am sort of like working for somebody else's company, which is how I see it, like as a business owner, I'm like, okay, I'm clocking in for somebody else, right? Like, I just can't
Mhm.
unsee that. But it makes me go a little harder for my own stuff. Very weird.
Mm.
I work backwards, whatever. But it just makes me like when I clock off over there, I'm like, yeah, let's get it in over here now. So I'm just excited for like that real hard switch and like just that reigniting to happen for me again. But yeah, I'm
That's
good. How are
awesome.
you?
That's so good. I'm proud of you, girl, and I totally understand all of that. I think that that's amazing because to your point, I think it's really dope to just be able to have not all your eggs in one basket. And that's like what I was kind of getting from like what you were saying, all those different things is like, especially as a media girl as well, like we have to always keep ourselves in the loop because as time passes, programs change. Like I don't even know what program you guys are using, but I'm like, I probably was using a program that they don't even use anymore when
Right.
I was in news. So I'm saying like you just have to really just stay abreast to what's like happening. But I've been good, girl. Just literally look every single day, every single week, it's a new battle. But as soon as you just, knock that out and you come up on top, that's good. I've been trying to also figure out some stuff work wise. So still trying to like navigate in that space because the world is changing, child, which is why I'm so grateful for our podcast and our platform that we,
Mhm.
can come on here each week and do that, but still just keeping consistent with the things like, working out, eating healthy, staying on top of our podcast and, just figuring everything out. But girl, I was literally putting all the dates that we have coming up. Like I have so much coming up at the end of the year. And I'm like, the year's about to be over. Christmas is like in less than 100 days.
Girl.
I'm like, the new year is
Halloween,
about to be here around the
Thanksgiving.
corner.
Oh my
Halloween,
gosh.
Thanksgiving, and all these things make me think of how much money we need to put out for the different things coming up. So I think that this is going to be a great episode. We're going to be talking about side hustles. So this is just like ties into so much that we're going to talk about on our show. So stay tuned for that. But yes, girl,
Yeah.
just figuring life out, but I love that you're saying that, and I think that having the corporate life plus the freelance life balance is just so ideal because you get to have the structure, but then you also have your own,
Mhm.
which I think is beautiful.
Stay tuned because we've got some tips and tricks on how to keep that balance and to create that balance for yourself. So,
Yes. Well, let's get into our unfiltered chat for today, which is the Skims and Nike collab. I know everybody has been talking about Kimberly Kardashian partnering up with Nike for another collab. She's had so many. She's had Dolce& and Gabbana. She's had Fendi. She, of course, has her own line of her shapewear. But now Nike's in the mix. And I know you and I have been talking about it. So we wanted to bring it on the podcast. But how are you feeling about this new Skims Nike collab?
I think Kimberly never ceases to amaze me in terms of like always proving people wrong and like doing things that people say she shouldn't be doing because she's done XYZ in the past or whatever the case may be. Like she's just like a professional ceiling breaker. And I love that for her. I haven't really looked at I just seen like what a couple of people were wearing, but it seems like the regular, like basic Skims stuff. So I haven't really like checked out the actual collection, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like as basic as the other stuff that she wears because I think that's very much the brand of Skims where it's like very simple, but the quality is chef's kiss. And that's what people are buying, which honestly, I don't mind. I think we need to revert back to that because the quality in a lot of things that we are currently purchasing these days just don't really be making sense to me in terms of the price tag versus what we're getting. But I think
Mhm.
it's great. Also, a couple of months ago, I got my boyfriend some Skims draws and he loved them. So I'm like,
I didn't even know they made men's
Yes, they
boxers.
do, and he enjoys them. So I'm like, I think this is gonna be massive for her because she's tapping
Mhm.
into a different demographic in a different way. Like you said, you didn't even know she sold men's stuff, but yeah, she has been
Yeah.
selling men's stuff for a very long time. But this Nike collab is really gonna push that for her. So smart business
Yeah.
move.
I agree, and I think that it's for the ladies. I love how she tapped into other female athletes like Serena Williams and Sha'Carri, the track star. I love how she just tapped into, like, having them a part of it. I think she had over, like, I wanna say 50 athletes
Nice.
that helped her with the collection and, model it, and I know she also had, like, a really big event in New York City, brought out all the girls. I
She
know
did. I saw that.
Lotto was there, like, I seen so many others, like, singers, that were there. I think JT was there.
Mhm.
But yeah, a lot of girls went out. Your girl Mariah the Scientist was there too. She's been at a lot of Fashion Week events. I love that for her. She's been out. She's been outside.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
do.
but I think that this Nike collab, well, obviously, as we're talking about this, it sold out. It already
Mhm.
launched and it sold out, which is amazing for Kim. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little underwhelmed. I
By the
also am
collection?
not like a yeah, by the collection. I'm also not like a huge Skims person. I do have a lot of her items as far as like, her shapewear and a couple of her shirts was I think the quality is chef's kiss. It's
Mhm.
super soft and comfortable. I think the last collab I bought, which is probably a while ago, was the Fendi and Skims collab. And I don't know what it is. I think I get the idea of having like an everyday brand partnering up with like luxury brands, which Nike I wouldn't consider to be like a luxury brand, but I would say like how
No,
she
they're
did Dolce
definitely
and Gabbana
premium
and
though,
Fendi.
for sure.
Yeah, like a premium brand. I think that I would love to see something different, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like it's not for me personally. Like I didn't feel the need to go out and just purchase Nike because Skims was on it. But I just felt like it was like very
But you're
basic,
not a
which her
Skim
things are
stan.
neutral.
You're not a Skim stan. Like, you'll
That's
get
probably what
her
it is.
shapewear, which I'm same. I'm like, I'll get her shapewear and stuff, but I'm not necessarily buying her actual clothes. You know? Like, I've got
Same.
her, like, undergarments and stuff, but I'm not buying the clothes to wear outside, you know?
Same, same, and same. So yeah, I mean, I hope she has nothing but true success in this launch, which I'm sure she does because it's sold out.
What, you said
But
$2,000,000,000? Yeah, she's good.
well, Nike was trying to tap in with her because she has a $3.2 billion like, business that she's built on her own. So I guess Nike's also trying to tap into, just the success that she has had as a business owner, which I think is very smart. I think it's a
Mhm.
very smart collab. But yeah, so I guess we'll just have to see what's next. I'm trying to think what kind of collab I would love to see Kim do. As you mentioned, like she does a lot of stuff for men. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some things that I can see her doing.
Mhm. I think what's great
But we'll
about her is
see.
that she's always doing the unexpected collabs, which is cool.
Mhm.
Like, with the
Mhm.
Nike and, like you said, Dolce& Gabbana. I mean, I guess Dolce& Gabbana's not that unexpected, but I'm saying, like, in terms of, like, what she sells versus the brand she's partnering up with is very different. It's not like she's working with an Aloe who also sells athleisure. Like, she's working with brands who do,
Mhm.
like, sort of complete opposite. I think Nike is probably, like, the most similar brand that she's worked with. But, yeah, I have a question. Do you think Kim is
Mhm.
losing, not losing, but, like, kinda, like, losing her influence in a sense? You know, like, at one point, people were like, everything Kim Kardashian, whatever she's
Yeah.
shopping, people are running to it, and I think that for this Nike thing, we all saw
Mhm.
the collab happen and stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't really hear people yelling about getting getting the pieces.
Not at all. I honestly, like, love Kim's work ethic, but I just think we're in a different day and age. I think also people aren't spending like they used to. So I think it's a very trying time, I feel like, to be like a business owner and to launch something right now because I just think that financially people are just not spending money. Businesses are closing down left and right. Like there's a bunch of like fashion houses and stuff that aren't really doing well. So I don't necessarily think Kim doesn't have the influence. I just think that right now people are like holding on to every penny that they have because y'all see what's going on in the world these days. We
Mhm.
talking about the rapture. People
Yeah.
talking about the rapture happening and all these different things going on.
I think
People
people are
are
just
holding
smartening
tight to
up.
their dollar.
Yeah, people are smartening up.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're reverting back to the old days in terms of like where we are deciding to spend our money
Mhm.
and really seeing the value for our actual dollars and where we're putting them. But
Mhm.
nonetheless, I agree with you. I think that Kim has a solid hustle foundation, which kind of like leads into our general conversation. Like the way she has turned her passion into like a big paycheck, it's just incredible. Like, because if you think about it, what she did was like took her body and like how people were so obsessed with her body
Mhm.
and just remarketed shapewear because it wasn't like we didn't know Colombian waist trainers existed. We knew that,
Mhm.
you know, but she took something that was, very like trendy to her at the moment and took that small thing and made it into something really big. And I think that, a lot of us, especially a lot of people who are listening to elevators, are looking to grow, whether it's like personally, but also like as an entrepreneur, and are trying to figure out how to balance that 9 to 5, but also their dream. And I think that she's
That's
done
right.
that very well. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree. The perfect segue for our topic for today. We are talking about the side hustle bag. Big dreams, turning your side hustle into a passion project that pays the bills. We are going to talk about that on today's show. I think it's the perfect conversation we could have, not just because it's the end of the year, but because I feel like everybody understands the importance of having other ways to make multiple streams of income. You literally, I feel like in this day and age, cannot survive in this world just making money one way. Like those days are gone. Like when our
Mhm.
parents used to do that back in the day, just clocking into your 9 to 5 and going home, like that's not enough money. There's so much ways out here to just make money. And then I think that we're going to just tap into that. So let's just break down what a side hustle is. I think for those who don't know what a side hustle is, it's literally you having something else that you're doing, like on the side. It might be like a passion project or just something that you're just doing that that you would love to see be grow to be something really big. But it starts off as something that you're just doing simultaneously amongst other things that you are doing. It's not your mainstream of income. It may not be like your only source of income, but it can grow to become that.
Mhm.
That's what I think about when I think of a side hustle. There's so many different people having a side hustle. A side hustle could be like a boutique that you start online. It could be a pet grooming service that you start. It could be just maybe you're Ubering, or just different things. Like some of those things could be considered like a side hustle, and they can grow to be a full-time
Or not.
situation for people as well, or not.
Or
Yeah.
not, yeah, because sometimes side hustles are just to get a little extra right now for whatever it be, like the holiday season. Because I don't think anybody would want to jump into an Uber and then make that their main sort of
Mhm.
income, but, like, that's a side hustle that you can do
Mhm.
here and there, or, like, surveys and stuff like that, and we have a couple of potential side hustles for you guys, so make sure you're staying tuned and you're listening because 'cause we're gonna go over that as well. But, yeah, I think that just understanding what that side hustle is and, like, what that looks like is so important, but I also think that Amanda and I have had experience, so, like, this is a great topic for you and I to talk about, and I think the
Mhm.
one thing for anybody who's listening and who's considering doing a side hustle, but in the space of like making their side hustle their passion, my first piece of advice is to start to put it on paper. A lot of times we think about things for a very long time. I know sometimes I can be a thinker when it comes to certain things. I'll think about things for like a year before I actually do it. And over time, I've learned that the best way to get your side hustle or your passion off the ground, even though you're clocking in 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, is to just start. And I know it
Mhm.
sounds so simple, but a lot of times we focus on what does the logo look like? What does this look like? What
Mhm.
does that look like? Yeah, those things are important, but what's more important is that you're actually progressing and doing the work. Like you're doing
Yep.
something this week, next week, the week after that. Like you have to chip at that every single day. Like, and when people say that, they don't be lying. Like, even if it's just an
Mhm.
hour a day on that project on Saturday and Sunday too. I'm not gonna let y'all get off easy. Nope. We're doing this
Mm.
Monday through Sunday, honey. If you want to
Mm.
have that 9 to 5 and that side hustle, you gotta clock in every day, even if it's only just an hour of your day on that.
Yep, I agree. I think production over perfection. Like, absolutely. I feel like we spend so much time trying to, and I'm speaking myself included because I fall victim to this and I have plenty of times. But, I'm slowly but surely getting out of that. But I feel like we spend a lot of time trying to perfect things and, like you mentioned, the logo, wanting to make sure everything is, up to par, when that means nothing when you don't do the work. Like, that means nothing when you don't get it off the ground. And I think that when we're talking about side hustling and balancing just trying to get it off the ground, I think that people have to be very honest with themselves about like what their goals are, whether it be like a short-term side hustle or you're wanting to make it a long-term side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you have to be realistic in the things that you say to yourself. And I think it's got to be like a mindset shift of you knowing how to like compartmentalize, you clocking into your corporate job and you're doing what you got to do on that time frame that you're literally obligated to that specific thing, but then be honest about your time when you're on your lunch break or you have any type of time away from work and the time that you're not on your job, that you're literally clocking in and doing the things that you told yourself that you were going to do day in and day out. So yes, I think it's writing it down on paper and making like tangible, like smart goals for what you want to reach with your side hustle. Like what is it ultimately going to become for you? And if it's something that's short term, cool. Maybe if it's a short term thing, you type out, I would like to make $20,000 or whatever the amount is by a certain date. And then you work to try to figure out how you're going to accomplish that money. Or if it's going to be like a big like a something that you want to do long term, you may have a bigger goal that you want to reach and you figure out how you reach those things. But I just think that you have to come up with like a balance between your 9 to 5 and then what it is that you're going to do with your side hustle and having like a strict schedule that you meet and that you're consistent on.
But also being realistic with yourself. Like, do you really want that side hustle, or is this something because you see everybody else doing it on social media, you want to do it? Being realistic with yourself is so important because you will sign up to do something that you're not passionate about. And if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to find that energy to give it even 10 minutes per day. Like, you have to be insanely passionate about whatever it is that you want to do when you clock off for work, because you're just not going to find the energy if you're not. And also, I think it's important to decide whether you want to make that passion a paycheck or if it's just a hobby. And if it's just a hobby, that's okay. But you have to be very clear about what that is, because that's another thing. I think generally, like, people lack hobbies. Like, people are always trying to make money off what could just be their hobby. Like, you ain't gotta, if you like to paint, you ain't gotta sell your paintings all the time. You might want to, but it could also just be a hobby. You get what I'm saying?
Also, I think also to your point, I feel like people will be very surprised with how much they would have success in if they tap more into their hobbies that can be like generate financial like increase. What I mean by that is I think it's so telling the things people are passionate about that they don't get paid for, that they are more in love with, versus like you can tell when like someone's just doing a side hustle because they're like trying to make money versus, well, I really love doing this, whether I get paid or not, I want to do this.
Right.
And I think people will buy into that more, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. I think you have to be obsessed with your hobby, and then that makes it a passion. You get what I'm saying? Like, for example, I enjoy grooming my dogs. I would call it more of a hobby because it's like one of those like peaceful things where you kind of like just zone out and you're just focused on that one thing and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Do I want to make it a passion? Is it a passion of mine? No, I'm not passionate about the angles of the haircut and blah, blah, blah. I'm not, but I enjoy doing it. Like, there's a sense of like peace in it for me. You get what I'm saying? So like figuring out what that looks like for you is so important before you decide this is going to be a passion to paycheck for me.
Let's talk about, I agree. Let's talk about some side hustles that I feel like we've had, because I think that would be kind of cool. I think people may not realize some side hustles that maybe we've done, because I don't think I know I probably haven't mentioned some of them outside of the things people have seen online. Just so we could give you like an understanding of why we are talking about this, because we talk the talk and we walk the walk on this podcast. So for me, let me see. I'm going to try to take it back. Let me try to take it back to, I'm trying to think in New York days, what side hustle, because I'm sure I was trying to get it at some point. I feel like one of my early side hustles that I was doing was like selling clothes online.
Me too.
So I think
more like Poshmark.
I started off, Poshmark. Or like a Plato's Closet. Like, you know how like you just have to gently use clothes that you just don't like necessarily wear, so you'll sell them. So I think I started doing that because as, someone who just loves like buying clothes and stuff, sometimes you like find yourself having things that you just don't use.
Yep.
So I want to say I started that as a side hustle. Then I'm sure I've had some like long time ago too, but I'm just thinking of like the more recent ones. During COVID, I started selling like Florida necklaces. But so let me tell you how this kind of started as a side hustle. So I like wore one because I just loved it because I was in New York at the time and I was like, oh my gosh, I miss home. And I think I seen it. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And every time like I wear it, like people would compliment me on it that were from Florida. And they were like, oh my gosh, where can I get one of those? Like, I love that. Like, I want one. So I was like, oh, let me go find a little vendor. So I found a vendor that basically sold me Florida necklaces. They were in China or something like that. And I didn't know I was going to make money off of it. But I was like, let me just buy like a few to see. So like I bought a few and then I started getting sales from it. I created like a small little Shopify account, started getting sales. I was like, oh, people are actually into this. So I started doing that. People were buying it. And then I started getting people asking me about different states. I was like, oh, different colors. I was like, oh, y'all really are into this. So I started doing that. So I did that for a little bit. And then after I did that, I think I started a boutique online. It was XVI and Lux with one of my best friends. So I did an online boutique. And what else did I do? I feel like I had someone. Oh, I did vending machines. That was a real side hustle. Which I can
Wait,
talk to
I
you
want to
guys
hear more about the
about.
vending machines.
So vending machine, and then somewhere before the vending machines, I'm gonna tell you about the vending machines. I want to say content creating also became a side hustle for me, which I'll talk about that a little bit more. But the vending machines was something. It was me and two of my best friends. So it was three of us. We are always like, we were in like a separate group text, and we were always talking about just like ways we can like put our money together, just to grow it together because we had this vision. And I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. We were like, oh, we want to purchase a property together. And like, it could be just like an investment property. And we were just trying to think of ways that we can start like building our money to like go towards that. So we thought of vending machines because we were like, okay, at the time, I had a cousin who worked in a corporate building and they needed them. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I was like, the corporate building had over 100 employees. They did like insurance. So it's a real like situation where they had people there all day. And the vending machines weren't that expensive. We found them online. I want to say they were less than 5,000 each. We want them. I want to say we got them for like maybe 3,500. We had a total of 4 machines, 2 drink, 2 snacks. And we actually serviced the machines. Like people didn't know that. Like I literally was working this like buying the snacks and servicing the machines. And it was actually pretty lucrative. I feel like if someone has the time and energy and the location is the biggest thing. If you have a location, whether it's like a barbershop or like something that has a lot of foot traffic, it can be definitely very lucrative, but it is also very time consuming unless you have somebody else servicing it for you. But it's a cash business. So it's like literally, it's just the cash. And then if you have like a card reader, you get the card reader funds as well. So yeah, vending machines was another side hustle for me.
Nice.
And yeah.
And you said you want to talk about
What about
content
you?
creation?
Yeah. So content creating, I actually stumbled into that as a side hustle. Like I was already like, so I started doing content when I lived in New York just for fun. And I know like Emmy actually mentioned that and I felt the same way when she said it on last week's show. I was creating content when I was already having like my corporate job and it was just like a fun thing I would do on the weekends. But when it became lucrative to me was I posted something that I actually was using and I was consuming and it was like another company like seeing it and they used it in their newsletter without me knowing usage. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like my image was like used on like national like at a national level, like they were using it for things that they were like showcasing to like their brand partners and so on and so forth. So, and it was like something I posted on Instagram. And my lawyer, I guess, was communicating with them and somehow like worked out a partnership where I worked with them for like half the year on a paid basis, just off the strength of me posting something that I use on a regular basis. So that's how I stumbled into like the side hustle of content creating. Cause I think I didn't realize at that point how much money was in the industry. Like I thought people, yes, got paid to post content, but I didn't realize from the business side of things, like how much people really and truly could make until that happened to me, which was like.
Didn't that happen to you recently?
No, girl, that happened to me when I was living in Alabama.
Didn't something similar happen to you recently where somebody sent you your picture and like, why are they using my face?
Girl, yes. Oh my gosh. But that was like not content wise. So I had an image that I took a picture of with my best friend at like a concert and I got someone to text me that they seen my image on like a billboard at InvestFest, which was like a company using my picture. It's nuts. Girl, I still have to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, no, you
That
have to get to the bottom of that.
girl,
Absolutely.
that was, insane. But what about you? Let's talk about your side hustles. What are some side
Um,
hustles that you've done or
so
you've been a part of?
yeah, I used to do like the Poshmark stuff, like buying and reselling stuff, like sneakers, because you already know, like I have great sneaker
Mhm.
collection. I used to also have this costume jewelry line with a friend of mine, a couple years
I
ago.
remember that. Wait, what was the
Yeah,
name of
it was
it?
called Ricochet.
Ricochet. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember.
it was
Yes.
really cute. She was a graphic designer, and I was kind of like doing my content creating. So I was like, "This is perfect. I could market it. You could do the designing. Like we're working two different sides of the brain." So that was that, and then I have, and I still have. This is one of those things where it's like it's so hard. Which is another thing I want to talk about, like how hard it is to run your own business by yourself. Like it's so hard. But anyways,
Mhm.
so the other thing I have is Cositas, which is like my travel brand. I have like makeup, like travel makeup cases, but also like some makeup sponges and like cases for your makeup sponges to travel with. So it's predominantly like travel stuff. And that was just based off of how much I travel for work, for just for play, but just like I was always on the run. But I also wanted to create a brand that's like a little close to like my Puerto Rican heritage. So I was like, oh,
Mhm.
like really cute, like Cositas, things to travel with. As a matter of fact, it was my man's idea. He was like, "You should make this into a business." And I was like,
Really?
this is brilliant. Yes, because at the time I was doing like a lot of content creation with my makeup and I used to travel with this big trunk. And I tell him all the time, like, I want to figure out something that's, like organic to me, a business that, that just feels like, it's like my thing, but it's just really organic to my lifestyle. And he was like, well, you're always walking around with that big ass trunk. Why don't you do like a travel thing? And I was like, yes. But so the marketing for that was really cute. Like the branding for that
Mhm.
was really cute. It ate, but it was just hard being consistent in that space by myself because I didn't have another like brain to function on. So
Mhm.
I did that for a while and I still have that in like my back pocket because I do really want to like push that a little more, but I'm just like trying to figure out another product that's a little more
Mhm.
lucrative. That so then there was that. And then recently I've had like an online clothing boutique, which has done really well as well. But I'm having the same problem. Like it's hard for me to be consistent in those spaces by myself. I don't know what it is. Like I can't even I couldn't tell you why. Like it's just hard.
No, I think that's what it is. But shout out to him for that because I'm not gonna lie, I still use my Cositas bag. I have it.
Thank
I use that's the
you.
only I have like multiple makeup bags I use, but like that's my makeup bag that has everything in it.
Right?
It's
Isn't it
literally my
so
bathroom.
good?
It's almost dangerous how much stuff you can fit in there. Like I feel like it's like it's literally a bag full of everything that you need.
Yes.
But yeah, I love that. No, I think it's exactly what you said. I feel like it's so hard sometimes doing everything on your own. Like if you're one person, so it's like so easy. We could like ideas are endless.
It's
I think
insane.
that it's just literally like consistency with doing the business, but also doing it by yourself. Cause sometimes you get burnt out, like with trying to come out with new marketing ideas and new things if you don't have like another person on your team to do these things. So I think at some point, the side hustle does become like an actual like real hustle and a real business to where you got to start implementing other people into the mix to be able to
Yes.
like take it to the next level like the way that you would want to.
And that's why I say you have to be passionate about it because it is gonna be a real like job. It's gonna be a job. It's not gonna be easy. Even when people make it look easy, it's hard behind the scenes. It's very hard. But it's also hard to fund those things because at some point you're going to need to fund that hustle. So you might be funding the marketing, even though you're still doing all the work. You might be funding the platform that your website is hosted on. Like it's gonna cost money. And the months that you're not making money, you're gonna be like, ooh, should I really be doing
Mhm.
this? And you really gotta work to you gotta weigh your options. Like, was this
Yeah.
going back to our original question, was this just a hobby? Or is this a side hustle that you want to be something much larger?
Exactly. That's knowing your why as to why you're starting this business. And I think that if you figure out what that is, then I think it makes it so much more easier for you to navigate. Like if it's something that's short term, like you just trying to get money for the holidays, you're trying to get money for a project, trying to get money for your kids' sweet 16 or prom, or you trying to get money for your wedding or whatever the case may be, like, then it's going to be something that's a more short-term goal. But if you're like trying to make this like huge and bigger than you can imagine, then it's going to take some real it's going to take some real time. It's going to take some real energy, some love, some sacrifices to be able to see it get to the next level. So there's levels to side hustles for sure. So when starting your side hustle or figuring out what your side hustle is, I think we should talk about marketing and visibility. I always say this. No one's going to know anything about your business if it doesn't have any home for people to find it. Whether it's a website, whether it's an Instagram page, or, somewhere that, whether it's like a QR code or something that you can just have that you can share with other people, it's so important to have that. I think that when you're looking at social platforms for your business or your side hustle, make sure you can get it on everything in the same name. So I think before getting like the website and everything, whatever the name of your business is, I would look on every single platform, making sure they have that exact name. And if not, try to make a shift, because I think it's so important for the branding of it to not have like your name and having to put a 1 behind it or a dash behind it. I think it's just it's so easy when you just have like one clean name for your business, and then make sure you buy the domain, you have all the social platforms, just so that you're able to market that business. And then I think that people need to learn how to do things on their own. And that takes you going on YouTube University, maybe for like learning how to do graphic designing. Sometimes you may not have the money to be able to pay all these people. And if you do, that's amazing. If you have money to pay for a logo designer, graphic designer, that's amazing. But if you don't, there's websites like Canva, there's defonts.com. There's like so many other websites and things that you can tap into to be able to create the logo. There might be like a logo generator website. I think there's one called logo generator website that you can actually get these types of things, because you do need the marketing aspect to the business. So I think that people should not underestimate Canva, YouTube. YouTube can literally tell you how to get on Wix, which is a website which is a platform for a website, and build out your own website, whether it's Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. You need to be able to have all those things. And social media is such a powerful space when it comes to marketing your side hustle. But one thing that I want people to understand is you have to have a storyline. And I think the storyline to whatever it is, like Crystal mentioned, Michael Sita's, like that was something that's like near and dear to her and her heritage, but it's something that's believable because it's literally her, right? So I think that if you have something that you have a story to or a storyline of, like, I think that's amazing or that's great. There's so many businesses I think out there that start from people seeing a lack of something in the industry or something that they are looking for that they weren't able to get. And I think those businesses turn to be the most successful ones, because it's like you're filling a void that's out there, that's not out there actually, that you're like bringing to the market space. So I think when you're thinking of a side hustle that you want to become something long term, think of what isn't out there that you can literally bring into the fold that people will be like, I've never seen this before and I want to tap into it. So that would be my take on when it comes to like marketing and visibility for your business.
And I love that you're talking about like Wix domains and stuff like that, but unpopular opinion, you do not have to get an LLC from the jump. Please don't do that. I think that's the one thing that I learned. Like, once you get an LLC and you put it on paper, you're opening up a can of worms that you more than likely are not ready for. And when I say not ready for, I mean financially, because I don't think you're really supposed to get an LLC until you're actually making like a certain amount of profit under like that LLC and like that company. And a lot of times, like, people jump into getting LLCs or starting LLCs and all this other stuff. Cause I remember when that was like a hype on social media and everybody was getting LLCs, blah, 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 not realizing that now you're going to have to claim that on your taxes. Now you have to claim that money on your taxes, period. But there's a separate like LLC, cost to file at the end of the year now. So not only are you paying to file your own personal taxes, but now you have to pay to file those LLC taxes when you could have just implemented them into your personal stuff. Like, so just know what you're doing before you open up that LLC can of worms, because that itself, I think, was the biggest mistake I've made when it comes to like certain businesses opening those certain businesses. Like, that was one of the first things that I did. Like, let me just do this right. Let me do my paperwork right. Not realizing that actually, like, I'm really just jumping the gun here. Like, I didn't need to do all that. And I spent more money on the operations of the actual LLC than I did when I could have put that into the actual business. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys tap into the comments if so, but I think for S Corp, because there's definitely a huge difference between LLC and S Corp. For S Corp, I want to say your business has to be making at least at minimum 100,000 in order for you to become considered an S Corp. So I feel like if you're an LLC and you're like kind of on that line of your K up, you have to turn your LLC into an S corp. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that I think what it boils down to is you have to be honest with yourself and realize whether or not it's just like a passion project that's really only what it's going to be, or if this is going to turn into something that's going to be like an actual corporation or a company that you want to put out into the world. And if that is the case, then you want to protect it. I think when you think of LLC, you think of like what you want to do to protect your company. If it's something that's like, oh, whatever, I don't care about it, then don't worry about making it a solid LLC. But I do think it's important for you to have the right documentation, because I would hate for people to put out businesses and side hustles that other people sue you from because you don't have the right trademarking and LLC and all those different types of things that you need in order for it to be yours.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you want to make sure you are in the clear before, to your point, like make sure the name is good or whatever. I guess what I'm saying is like make sure you're going to be consistent with that thing before you start opening up a can of worms thinking like same sort of like the way I was talking about the logo. Before you like, I need this logo, I need this, that, then third. Like make sure you're actually going to be consistent. Build consistency first before you run into starting an LLC. Like that's kind of what I mean. Like, but once you see yourself being consistent and really like owning that brand and like, okay, cool, I've been doing this for a while, like I'm gonna stick to it, then go ahead and open the LLC. But if not, child, you spend so much money on it. It's just insane, in my opinion.
Let's talk about the real challenges when starting a side hustle/business. The truth of the matter is, I think we have to get out of this mindset that everybody's doing it. So and so did it. Like it's already out there. Like I don't want to do it because I already see it being done. Get out of that. We have to realize that there's so many things that are out there in the atmosphere and in the market that you're going to have to figure out what you bring to the table that's different from everybody else. There's so many wine companies. There's so many ketchups. There's so many waters. Like there's a plethora of things because they are for you to be able to choose which one you like best. So I think that we have to stop feeling like we can't put something out there because so-and-so is already doing it. You are going to kill yourself when it comes to comparison of other people. If you feel like you have an idea that's already out there, get out of that.
It is important to tell your story from your perspective, which is kind of like what you were saying earlier. It has to be organic and authentic to you because that's going to give you your edge, because everybody is very much different. Even though we have a lot of similarities, everybody is different. Everybody has been through different things and are in different seasons of their lives. So as long as like your passion is really authentic to you, you can totally turn it into a paycheck. Just tell your story,
Tell your story and consistently show up for yourself.
Oh my gosh.
I think that it's so telling for the people, and even as like a creative, just like to be able to put things out there and nobody may not even like it. I'm talking friends, family, people that you thought were going to be with you every single day, getting it, grinding with you from the bottom to the top. Like, I think that you have to get out of the mindset of thinking that everybody's got to support it and that everybody is going to buy from you, even the people closest to you. And I feel like the moments where it's slow is when you have to have the most momentum to keep going. It's not when sales are high. It's not when things are going viral. It's when you really have $0 and 0 likes and 0 comments that you have to keep going. You have to be persistent. You have to be consistent in whatever it is that you want to see come to fruition. And I think that that's just the name of the game. Like, I just feel like it's so hard when you literally seeing no progress, but the progress is happening. It's just not happening in the time frame that you would want it to happen. So you just literally have to keep going.
Yeah, girl, I think that's definitely second to consistency is like showing up even after you feel like you failed. That is so important, but also like learning from those failures and implementing it into the next time you stand up and dust yourself off. But like you have to stand up and dust yourself off from whatever you feel like was a failure or wherever you feel like you could have learned. That and consistency is really going to make things happen. But also like potentially finding somebody who has the same passion as you, and it doesn't have to be like you're selling a product or whatever, but like if you have this business idea like Amanda was doing with her friends, with the vending machine company, like finding that other half of the brain can really help you build a successful business. Finding somebody that you genuinely trust, that you can genuinely lean on with their like education and special insight on whatever it is that you guys want to move forward in. Like just finding somebody who can fill a space that you can't fill and vice versa. Like you do something that they can't really do and they do something that you can't really do. Like that is honestly, in my personal opinion, has been the easiest way for me to find success in the other businesses I do. Because again, when I'm doing things by myself, I'm like, what is it that is not, it ain't clicking for me when I'm doing it by myself.
Mhm.
And I think that just really having somebody to lean on and to hold me accountable to be consistent has really helped me. So that might be something that you might need, like somebody to hold you
Mhm.
accountable, a partner to make sure that you're being consistent and then you're making sure that they're consistent. Because a lot of times, like, whether it's be the podcast or my other business, sometimes I'm on and I'm on go mode and my partner is a little lax and a little chilling. And then sometimes, you know, the tables turn, they're on go mode and I'm like, you can take the wheel from here, you know, and that's just how you
Mhm.
keep things going though. Like, and that's just the nature of having a partner in a business, but it also really allows for you to turn off sometimes and then for them to turn off sometimes. So, you
Mhm.
know, you might have to find somebody out there who can help you grow said business or who can help you grow said side hustle. But kind of like, bro, I want to touch on what you said earlier about like support systems, because like that kind of goes into
Mhm.
it. That having a partner for me has been such a good support system, but a support system that I can actually count on. Because the reality is, unpopular opinion, but your family and your friends don't owe you shit. They don't owe you shit when it comes to your hustle. They don't owe you shit when it comes to showing up for you. Like everybody has their own stuff going on. And I feel like once people come to terms with that and manage their expectations when it comes to other people showing up for them, they can have healthier relationships. Because honestly, you know how many times I've sold something and my friends didn't buy it? So what? In my personal opinion, that doesn't make them less of a friend to me because I know where, you know, I know that we have a genuine relationship. And that's just my personal perspective on this. I know some
Right.
people are going to tear me up for saying that, but I don't expect for my friends to buy every single thing that I drop, to pay for every single thing that I'm selling. It's just not realistic. People have their own things going on, or to show up to every single event I do. Like I am in the midst of promoting a gala. Ask me if I blinked twice about my friends buying or not buying a ticket to it because it just is what it is. I don't
Mhm.
expect my genuine support system to necessarily finance my hustles. But I
Yeah.
do expect for them to pick up the phone if I want to call and whine about something. You know, like
Yeah.
that's what I expect from my support system. So to each his own, but
Yeah, I agree. I think that people need to be very accustomed to disappointment. I think that you have to really just understand that what you put out there, and honestly, think about it like this. If you had to judge your business off of the success of people that are closest to you supporting it, how successful would that business be? It wouldn't be successful. I think that what you put out there is to help support people who have no connection to you. And I think that when people stop worrying and are so concerned about the people closest to them supporting things, then you'll have a better business acumen and more or less like a more healthier connection to your business because you're not worried about the people close to you supporting it. And they will probably eventually when it's up. And usually that's what it is. When things are up, and like business is booming, that's when those people technically will come around. And it's unfortunate sometimes, but that's just the reality of it. People don't like to support things until they see the ship is sailing. And I know you've said this before on the show. No one wants to be on a sinking ship. No one wants to be a part of something that's not on the up and rise. Like, so I think that the minute we stop being so emotional about friends and family supporting the things that we do, and really think about the community that we're building outside, really are the ones that are going to be there with you every single day. I could even think of our podcast. Like I will sit there sometimes and look at like, not that we really need to be consumed by people commenting and liking things, but like I'll pay attention and I'll see, oh my God, this person likes a lot of our stuff or consistently commenting. They're a true supporter of what it is that we have going on. And I
mhm.
may have not met them before, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or so on and so forth. But we like feel super connected to them as if they're also like a really close friend or family member too. So I think that we just really have to get out of the mindset that your friends and family owe you something in your business because they owe you nothing, literally nothing. And that's
Mhm.
what it is.
Mhm. But I want to talk
That's
before
gonna ruffle some feathers. Some people are gonna
Yeah.
be very upset about that, but it
Yeah.
is what it is. It honestly is what it is. If any of these big corporations were worried about whether or not their cousins, aunts, best friends, uncles, grandparents supported them, they will not be up and running. They would not be here today. So
Another thing too that's super important because I love giving actual like tangible advice that you guys can take with you and really implement every single day, but like find what works for you. So like what time of the day works for you in terms of like when you can sit down and get things done. Over the years, I have found myself to be a night owl. I will stay up till 3 a.m. on my laptop cranking out work. It just worked for me at one point. Amanda's a morning person. She likes to crank out work in the morning. It works for her. I'm the kind of person that I like to write down pen and paper what I need to do, my to-do list, and stay consistent with it. So you have to find what works for you, whether that be using your iPad or apps to help you stay consistent. Whatever that might be, find what is going to help you be consistent and show up for yourself even when you don't want to.
yeah. And also, speaking on tangible tips, I think this is the perfect time for us to give some ideas of some side hustles or some non-traditional things or traditional things that are out there that can be ways for you to tap into a side hustle, especially because it's the end of the year. People are looking for things to do.
Even if
to
you
make a
guys
little
don't
bit
want it to be like your passion, there's still money to be made out there for this week, next week, and the one coming after that.
Absolutely. So you guys know that there's already, services that you can do and you can tap in and out whenever you need them. That's the DoorDashes, the Ubers, the Instacarts, like those type of things. I think anybody and everybody who has like a valid license and all that stuff can do those things. And I think the good part about doing any of those service industry type apps is that you can tap in and out whatever you choose, whether it's like, okay, this week I have extra free time, I want to tap into this. And do also understand that they do take a percentage of whatever you make. I think that's a good one. I think that whatever it is in the industry that you are in, that you can also give a service to somebody that you may not even realize it, i.e. Crystal and I mentioned that we're in the media space as well. We can also use like let's say a meeting service where you can tap in and set up a 30-minute call to get some advice on, breaking out in the industry or things that have worked, or even if you just wanted to talk resume, hey, these are some things on my resume. I am a journalist or I'm an aspiring TV host. I want to get into the industry. You can set up, literally there's websites where you can have a website and you can set up a 15-minute or 30-minute discovery call and you can get paid for something like that.
Stop, I forgot. I literally had one of those as a side hustle.
Really?
Yes, I forgot I had like my map. Remember, like I had like a map to media guide, and it was like a digital. I still have it. I should put that back on my website. But like it was just like a digital sort of map on like how to get into media and so on and so forth. And I had like an audio version to it. I've lived so many different lives, but yes, digital consultation, digital ebooks, guides, whatever,
digital products.
Yes. So good.
That's a really good
about
one.
that. You know what's another one too? As the holidays continue to approach, Etsy. Y'all sell digital products on Etsy. So that might be like custom wrapping paper, like fun cartoon stuff for the holidays, Halloween, Friendsgiving, whatever. Create digital products that people can buy from you on Etsy for these upcoming holidays. And you'll just rack up money.
I love that. Yeah, and I was telling one of my best friends because she's so good at it. And when she listens to the show, she's going to know I'm speaking to her. She's so good at making like templates for like trips. You know how like you're going on vacation and you're like, I need a guide of everything we're doing. She makes those things so perfect that I think that you can sell stuff like that, like on Canva. You can make so many templates on Canva and sell them on an Etsy, which is a digital product. Or you can also even sell an actual physical product on like an Amazon. That's always something that you can do. And a lot of these companies like Walmart, Home Depot, and I'm learning this as I'm like buying stuff for my home, you can also be like an independent seller and sell things on those websites as well. So Amazon is not the only one. There's so many other ones that are like those. Something that's non-traditional that one of my best friends told me that she does, and she has a full corporate job. She is a full-time girl. She's busy. She does surveys on the side and makes a little extra cash off of it.
That's crazy. What kind of surveys?
Yes. So like she'll do like, let's say like 15-minute surveys, 30-minute surveys. They may ask her like something about like, let's say it's a product that she's used, or they may ask her like frequently asked questions. A lot of businesses use use surveys to help their company be better in certain aspects. They'll tap into like researchers or surveyors to get them information, and that's just like an everyday person like you and myself.
That's
And
so
their
crazy.
specific websites, I will put them in our YouTube link just because I want you guys to have them. And I think everybody should have it. And I'm actually going to tap into it too. But she'll get like gift cards. It might be like $100 gas card or a $50 gas card or whatever. And I think she's actually got tangible money for doing it. And she said it takes her like maybe 10 at the most 30 minutes out of her day. And she
That's
does the
so
surveys and she'll
crazy.
get money for it.
That's literally insane.
Crazy enough, I have a program that I'm using. It's not like a survey, but it might be something else. It's not really like a side hustle, but it might be a way to make extra cash. It's called Fetch. If you guys have it, it's an app that I use. And what I do is I upload all my receipts when I have the time and I remember to do it. But if you upload all of your like receipts from your grocery stores, there are like items that they look for on there, but they'll give you like points, and the points go towards gift cards. And like I've gotten like Amazon gift cards just from uploading a receipt. Like it's that simple.
Wait,
You
what
upload
do
a
you
receipt.
mean? I don't
So it's
understand.
an app. It's called Fetch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you go to Publix or whatever grocery store, gas station, clothing store, Walmart, whatever. You upload your receipt on there. And what I think the way that it works is like marketers want to see like the products that people are consistently buying consistently. And I think this app helps tell them like, oh, a lot of people buy Clorox wipes, or a lot of people buy this. So it's like it helps like consumers tell like the marketers what products people buy. But all you do is upload your receipt and you get points depending on like, let's say like a Yoplait yogurt maybe worth 50 points this week and you bought it on your grocery run and you'll get 50 points for it. But like those points turn into dollars and you can buy gift cards from them.
That's
so
crazy.
easy.
I've never heard of this.
Girl, so easy. Like if you have receipts lying around, just upload them. They have to be like within 30 days, but you get points for every single receipt. Target, Walmart, anything, grocery store, and you get points that turn into dollars. Like literally.
Oh, I love that. Well, I hope this helps you guys get some extra coins during the season. Also get motivated to get serious about your side hustle, or just, have fun in your hobby, whatever that looks like. But make that decision as well, whether it's a hobby or you're like, yeah, I'm going to turn this passion into a paycheck. Let's give them an elevation message before they go.
Ooh, elevation message. Do you have one?
My elevation message would be to show up for yourself the way you show up for that 9 to 5 every single day, even when you don't want to.
That's a perfect elevation message for this episode. Yes, show up for yourself like you show up for that 9 to 5. You're not going to be late to that 9 to 5. You're going to be on time for that 9 to 5. You're going to give that 9 to 5 your all because you want that paycheck. Do the same thing in your side hustle. Do the same thing for your passion project. And then I think you'd be amazed to see the turnaround that it makes. Anything can be like lucrative. I just think it's just depending on how much time and consistency a person's willing to put into it. But girl, I'm motivated. I hope this episode motivated you as you are listening and watching and wherever you're getting it. And please, if it touched you in any way or helped you, make sure that you're sharing it with somebody. The more that you share this episode and our podcast with people, the more discoverable we become for people to listen to the show. And then it also just helps other people. So make sure you guys are doing that. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.